During both road design and construction, the safety of motorcycle and scooter riders is considered and potential hazards minimised. It is important that the road surface provides adequate grip and is free from defects. There needs to be clear sightlines for riders on curves, corners and at intersections, including roundabouts. Roadside should have adequate clear zones that are as free as practical of potential hazards should a rider run off the road. Careful thought should be put into the location and type of signage, poles and other roadside furniture used, especially on the outside of curves. Road shoulders should be designed to allow for a safe recovery in the event of a vehicle leaving the road.
Good road design takes in the needs of all road users, including vulnerable road users like motorcycle riders. At the design stage, a lot of things need to be considered, whether it be things like roadside fixtures, poles, guardrail. Even trees are very, very important, how close they are to the edge of the road, and whether or not they present a hazard to somebody who may have already fallen off the motorcycle and now be sliding on their back. Visual cues are very, very important. Things like edge lines that delineate the direction of the curve and how tight the radius might be. The edge lines form a natural point in the distance that enable us to determine whether or not this is an open radius. The further away the point meets, the more open it is. The closer it is, the tighter the radius. These help us decide where we're going to position our motorcycle on the approach to the bend in order to see through it. Other useful things that help us delineate curves are guideposts. Guideposts and their positions, how close they are to the edge of the road, tell us where the edge of the bitumen is. They work in conjunction with edge lines to tell us how much we've got as a leeway if things go wrong. If there are roads that come down to the edge of the road, to the bitumen, they may be gravel. Sealing bell mouths is very, very important. The migration of gravel down onto the road is often the result of vehicles travelling in and out of that bell mouth, leading to gravel collecting on the road. Quite often these bell mouths may be on bends, and if we come around a bend and discover there's gravel all over it, we're already leaning over. The difficulty then is how to avoid the gravel and maybe even stop. If there's a lot of gravel, sometimes there is no time, and many riders state that gravel or loose material on the road has been the cause of their crash.
Let's have a look from the rider's perspective, with some on-bike camera shots of examples of design and construction that has not taken into account the needs of riders. Here, boulders are used for landscaping right up to the edge of the road, seriously reducing the runoff recovery area for riders and other road users. This fencing has been placed too close to the edge of the road, and as a rider leans over for the corner, they come very close. This power pole is positioned right on the edge of this roundabout and is a real hazard if a rider loses control while cornering. Use of high gutters here are a danger to riders turning, as they may catch a foot or foot peg on the gutter if they drift too close while looking for traffic. Here, the rider has to avoid this van doing a U-turn up ahead, and so comes very close to the unsealed road shoulder. Had the rider been forced to leave the paved surface, there is a possibility of loss of control on the loose surface of the road shoulder. Sealed road shoulders should be a priority along high-volume motorcycle routes, especially on curves and around intersections. These cobblestones installed on the entry to this street offer an extremely uneven road surface and lead to a reduction in traction and braking power. The rider has to pull the bike upright while turning rather than leaning into the corner. This bridge joint, placed on a corner, presents a problem for riders. Note how the unexpected bump unsettles the bike and causes the rider to veer towards the centre of the road. Depending on traffic coming from the opposite direction, this could result in a crash. These rumble strips have been installed on a corner to act as a warning to drivers to slow down. However, for a rider, they can be a surprise, leading to them bringing the bike upright and potentially drifting into oncoming traffic. Such a treatment needs to be well signed. This roundabout has a palm tree that restricts the view of drivers and could easily prevent them seeing an approaching motorcycle or scooter. The driver of the red car would find it very difficult to see the approaching rider.
Some of these issues can be easily addressed and not require extra funding, such as ensuring the camber of the road, the using of anti-skid paint on the line marking, the placement of poles and furnitures at exits where motorcyclists may come down. There are things such as the sealing of bell nails to stop gravel going over the road. If addressed at the design stage, these are fairly simple problems to rectify.
Road repairs, maintenance and reinstatement works should be carried out as quickly as possible and the job done correctly so that significant hazards for motorcycles and scooters are not created. Where a hazard cannot be addressed immediately, warning signs for riders should be installed. Motorcycles and scooters travelling along roads need a consistent road surface. A loose, slippery, broken or uneven surface can cause the rider to lose stability or traction that may result in a crash. This is especially the case in places where the rider may be braking or turning, such as at an intersection or on a curve in the road. Riders also need a clear view of the road ahead. Overhanging or large shrubs or trees can restrict the view for a rider on curves and at intersections, including roundabouts. Maintenance should involve clearing any vegetation that restricts a rider's clear sight lines, taking into account clearance limits and safety benefits.
Although good design is very, very important for riders, ongoing road maintenance is at the heart of our road safety. Making sure that reaction is swift. When work needs doing, it takes place quickly, and that it's effective. By effective, I mean that the solution actually meets the needs of the riders, not just other drivers and truck drivers, but riders particularly. Making sure the cleanup is quick and effective, making sure there's nothing left over afterwards. Use of certain items can sometimes be a problem. Things like steel plates, leaving water running across the road, mud running across the road. These are all things that can be avoided and will lead to motorcycle safety gains.
Loose gravel and debris on the road surface is a serious problem for riders, especially at an intersection or on a corner. Even a small amount of material can lead to a loss of traction and lead to a crash. Rain can wash material onto the road surface. It can be dropped during roadworks or can come from construction sites. Temporary warning signs should be installed and the road surface cleaned as soon as possible. Cracked sealant can cause problems for riders. Too much use of sealant can lead to a slippery surface, which can be particularly dangerous on corners. If not applied correctly, it can lead to an uneven surface that can also unsettle a motorcycle or scooter. Here is an example of a road repair that has sunken down below the surrounding road surface. The bike bounces as it travels over the hazard. While this larger, heavier motorcycle manages the hazard, a rider on a lighter bike or scooter could lose control. Tram tracks, like any metal surfaces on the road, can be very slippery in the wet and difficult for motorcycles to negotiate. They also present a change in the road surface, as the surface around the tracks can be broken away, leaving a height difference between the track and the road. This can lead to a groove that can catch the tyres of a motorcycle or scooter and can be difficult to steer out of.
Repairs being done effectively and quickly and efficiently is a major issue with motorcycle road safety. Riders can come upon a scene very quickly. They need time to react. Things such as having warning hazard signs far enough back to warn of the hazard in front. The removal of gravel after a job's been done. The factor that we need to have warning for riders so they know there's an issue ahead and they can react accordingly. Again, I emphasise that by this being implemented, it means that all road users will also benefit.